Okay, now let's simplify square roots using variables inside the square roots. You notice that we have variables in there. They kind of follow the same rule, but first we're going to deal with just the 40. So if you recall, 40, we kind of split it up. So we're going to say it's 4 times 10. And then we have an x to the fourth. I'm going to rewrite these as separate. Remember, if I have x to the fourth, that means I have x times x times x times x. And if I have y to the eighth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 y's there. So I have a bunch of y's, a bunch of x's. Now notice I can take the square root of 4. That's just 2, so that takes that 4 away. 10 stays inside. I can't do anything about the 10. Notice that we have 2 x's here, so I can take 1 x out. I have another 2 x's, so I can take another x out. I have 2 y's, 2 y's, 2 y's, and 2 y's. So it follows the same rule. We write them out. Of course, these cancel. All pairs cancel. All I have left in there is just 10. But then I'm going to multiply these back out. So I have 2x squared because I have x squared there. And then I have y to the fourth square root of 10. Now notice that we did the number the same way that we did above, but notice that we did this a little differently. I put out all the y's. Now, of course, let's say you had y to the 32nd, you wouldn't want to write out all the y's. But if you recall, I could have converted this to 40x to the fourth, y to the eighth to the 1/2 power. So we could use an exponential power here and be able to look at that and see how to do that. Well, remember that if we have x squared to the third power, we multiply those, right, to get x to the sixth. So we multiply those together. That's the rule. So that means we're going to multiply these all inside. So we would end up with 40 to the 1/2. We'd end up with x to the 4 times 1/2, which is 2. We'd end up with y to the 8 times 1/2. 8 times 1/2 is just 4. You'll notice that these two are the ones that we get there. Okay, 40 to the 1/2 then split up into those things right there. Okay, so that's how we can do that a little bit faster. Okay, 28, a to the fourth, b to the third. Notice that we have, of course, the square root of 4 times 7. We have a to the fourth, b to the third. I'm going to leave those alone for now. We can take out a 2. I divide the power by 2. I get 2, so that would be a squared. And of course, all of those are gone. I divide the power by 2. And notice here I have 3 b's, so I can only take out 1 because I have 2 inside. Remember, 2 cancel out to give me 1. And then how many do I have left over? I have 1b left over. So that's what I would end up with, 2a squared b times the square root of 7b. That would be my answer. Okay, and I think that's it. I actually thought I had one more problem. I believe it was another homework problem. I guess I didn't write it in the video here, but it is the square root of 75 over 20. That's what it was. And so in this case, I can actually split this up. Notice that I can divide both numbers by 5. 5 goes into 75 15 times, and 5 goes into 24 times. So I'm going to split those numbers up just to see what I get. Of course, 15 is 5 times 3. That's not going to be able to take anything out. 4 is really 2 times 2. So notice in this case, my 4 is in the denominator, so I have 1/2 because I can take out a 2, which is the square root of 4, and I'm left with the square root of 15 inside. And that's what I have, which is this 5 times 3. That's what I would have as my final answer.